Don't move that next handful of gravel. You could be holding a $2,000 stone and never know it. Picture this: a muddy, gray pebble, barely a hint of purple, sitting in the palm of your hand. Most people toss it back, but with the right tests, the scratch test, the UV flashlight, and an $8 loop, you'll know if you've just found amethyst worth more than your monthly rent. I will show you 4 field methods, 2 tools you can buy for less than $20, and the one mistake that costs more than any other: missing the color zoning that separates a $5 rock from a $500 specimen. In 2022, a collector at Jackson's Crossroads in Georgia pulled a cluster worth $3,250 at auction just for a day's work in the clay. That could be you, but only if you know what to look for and where to look. Here's the truth. Most people think amethyst only comes from the mines of Brazil or Uruguay. I've seen the Antwerp dealers, my home turf, pay top dollar for those deep purple clusters. But the real secret is this: amethyst forms in volcanic veins and hydrothermal pockets. And in the United States, it is eroding out of the hills and washing into creeks from Georgia to Montana and from Arizona to Ontario. The purple you are after is born from iron-rich fluids trapped in quartz, then blasted by time and water until it lands in the gravel at your feet. If you know the signs, such as pale purple, muddy skin, and chevron patterns visible under a loop, you can spot it before anyone else. Let's get specific. In the field, raw amethyst almost never looks like the cut stones you see in Antwerp's Diamond District. It's pale, sometimes just a ghost of purple on broken quartz. Mud clings to every crevice. The color hides until you rinse it, and even then it might only show as a faint blush at the tip. That's why most people miss it. They're looking for the wrong thing. The best creek amethyst is subtle, with patchy color and rounded edges, sometimes with a single crystal face peeking through the grime. If you expect museum quality, you'll walk right past a $200 stone. Here's what you need to know about where it forms. Amethyst grows in volcanic and hydrothermal veins. Think of superheated water loaded with silica and iron, forcing its way through cracks in granite or schist. The iron is what gives amethyst its purple color, but only after natural radiation tweaks the chemistry. Over decades and centuries, the host rock breaks down. Rain, frost, and roots pry it apart. The crystals break free, roll downhill, and settle in creek beds. That is why you find amethyst in the gravels of Georgia's Piedmont, Arizona's Four Peaks, Maine's pegmatite country, Montana's mountain streams, the Carolinas slate belt, and even the glacial gravels of Ontario. Let's talk locations. Jackson's Crossroads in Georgia is the gold standard. Public digs, clay pockets, and creek gravels there have produced clusters worth $10,000 and up. In Arizona, the Four Peaks Amethyst Mine is legendary. The largest cut stone from that mountain hit 135 carats, and a 37-carat gem sold for $1,301.30. Access is tough. Helicopter access only for the mine, but the surrounding creeks on BLM land are open for collecting, up to 25 pounds a day if you follow the rules. Maine's Deer Hill and Mount Appetite have produced amethyst in both quarries and stream beds, though no single named creek find has made headlines. Crystal Park in Montana is public, open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. The gravels there have yielded amethyst points. No famous names, but the geology is right. In the Carolinas, Tessantee Creek, Leapers Creek, and Horse Creek Valley all have the right mix of quartz veins and surface runoff. Ontario's Thunder Bay district is a powerhouse for amethyst, with glacial and stream gravels loaded with purple quartz, but again, no single named creek find with a price tag. Now, The real challenge is spotting amethyst in the wild. Most creek amethyst is pale, grayish, and coated in mud. The purple is often just a tint, and sometimes only visible when wet. The biggest mistake is looking for deep, uniform color. Instead, train your eye for patchy zoning with purple concentrated at the crystal tips, or chevron patterns that zigzag through the stone. Use an $8 jeweler's loupe from Amazon or any rock shop to check for these bands. If you see V-shaped or irregular purple and white stripes, you are on the right track. Don't trust your naked eye. Magnification is the difference between a lucky guess and a confirmed find. Let's get hands-on. 4 field tests. 4 ways to separate amethyst from the fakes and the ordinary. First, the scratch test. Amethyst is quartz with a Mohs hardness of 7. It will scratch glass and steel, but it will not be scratched by a steel knife. Here's how to do it. Clean the stone, then try to scratch it with a steel blade. If the stone resists, try scratching a glass bottle with the stone. If the stone leaves a mark, you are in business. You can buy a Mohs hardness kit for $20 online, but a pocket knife and a glass jar work in a pinch. Second, UV fluorescence. Some amethyst glows weakly blue or green under a 365 nanometer UV flashlight. Not all do, but when it works, it is a game changer for spotting pale stones and gravel. The Convoy S2 Plus UV flashlight costs $12 to $20. Order it online. In the field, shade the area, shine the light, and look for a faint glow. If you see it, check for zoning and inclusions to confirm. Third, color zoning with a loupe. This is the $8 tool that pays for itself in one find. Clean the stone, dry it, and examine it under 10 times magnification. Natural amethyst shows uneven color, including bands, chevrons, or purple concentrated at the tips. Dyed quartz is usually uniform, or the color pools in cracks. If you see natural zoning, you're looking at the real thing. Fourth, specific gravity. Amethyst has a specific gravity of 2.65, the same as quartz, and heavier than glass. You will need a $15 digital pocket scale and a small beaker. Weigh the dry stone, then weigh it while it is suspended in water. Divide the dry weight by the difference. If the result is close to 2.65, the stone is quartz. Glass usually comes in lighter, around 2.2 to 2.4. This test will not separate amethyst from clear quartz, but it will rule out most fakes. Let's talk value. Rough Creek amethyst, pale and incomplete, and sometimes a little muddy, sells for $2 to $50, sometimes by the pound, sometimes by the carat. Hand-sized clusters with decent color can fetch $75 to $200. Medium decorative pieces, 20 to 30 pounds, go for $300 to $900. Large geodes, deep purple with cathedral formation, can hit $1,500 to $3,500. The real monsters, museum quality clusters, break $5,000, sometimes $10,000 or more. But here's the catch. Most creek finds are on the low end. The big money is in deep color, sharp points, and size. Pale, worn, or broken stones are common, but a single exceptional find can pay for a year's worth of boots and gas. Now, let's get honest. Odds are you will find more pale quartz than purple. Most creek amethyst is subtle, patchy, or faint, sometimes just a ghost of color. The best stones are rare, and the competition is fierce. Access is another hurdle. In Georgia, most productive creeks are on private land. Always get permission. Jackson's Crossroads runs public digs, but check the schedule. Arizona's Four Peaks Mine is helicopter only, but Bureau of Land Management creeks nearby are open. Just follow the 25-pound daily limit. Montana's Crystal Park is public, but only open seasonally. The Carolinas and Maine are a patchwork of private and public land. Always check ownership and local rules. Ontario's Thunder Bay is mostly public, but the best spots are picked over. Let's get back to the field. The best time to search is after heavy rain. Floods wash fresh material into the creek beds, expose new stones, and concentrate the heavy stuff, amethyst, garnet, even gold, in low spots and behind obstacles. Look for gravel bars, bends, and riffles downstream from known amethyst-bearing formations. In Georgia, that means creeks below quartz veins in schist and gneiss. In Arizona, washes below Four Peaks. In Maine, gravels near pegmatite outcrops. In Montana, mountain streams below old mines. In the Carolinas, anywhere the slate belt meets running water. In Ontario, glacial gravels and stream beds near volcanic rock. Let's get specific with the named finds. In Arizona, the Four Peaks Amethyst Mine has a history going back to 1900, when Jack McDaniel rediscovered the old Spanish workings. The largest cut stone from that mountain is 135 carats. In 1998, a 37.18 carat gem sold for $1,301.30. The mine produces about 1,000 pounds of rough every 6 months, but only a handful make it to jewelry grade. In Georgia, Jackson's Crossroads is the king. In 2022, a collector's lot of crystals sold for $3,250 at auction. Private sales have hit $10,000 for a single cluster. The mine's best pieces, hand-sized, deep purple with sharp points, regularly fetch five-figure prices. The top specimens are over $500,000, though those are the outliers. In Maine, Montana, and the Carolinas, the geology is right and creek finds happen, but no major documented public finds with names, weights, and values are on record. The potential is there, but the big stories have not broken yet. If you want more locations, exact coordinates, field guides, and stones most people overlook, subscribe now. I'll bring you the maps, the science, and the stories the dealers in Antwerp do not want you to know. Let's break down the field tests, step by step. For the scratch test, you need a clean stone, a steel knife, and a glass bottle. Try to scratch the stone with the knife. If it resists, try scratching the glass with the stone. If it leaves a mark, you are at most 7. For UV fluorescence, use a Convoy S2 plus 365 nanometer flashlight. Expect to pay $12 to $20. In the field, shade the area, shine the light, and look for a faint blue or green glow. For zoning checks, use a 10 times jeweler's loop. Clean the stone, dry it, and look for bands, chevrons, or purple at the tips. For specific gravity, use a $15 digital pocket scale and a beaker. Weigh the stone dry, then weigh it while it is suspended in water. Divide the dry weight by the difference. If you get 2.65, it is quartz. Let's talk about what most people miss. The single biggest mistake is ignoring color zoning. Natural amethyst almost always shows uneven color, bands, chevrons, or purple concentrated at the tips. Dyed quartz is uniform, or the color pools and cracks. If you do not check with a loupe, you will miss the real thing. The second mistake is expecting deep color. Most creek amethyst is pale, patchy, or gray. The third mistake is not cleaning the stone. Mud hides everything. A quick rinse can reveal a $200 stone hiding in plain sight. I have seen Antwerp buyers turn up their noses at pale stones, but I have also watched them pay double for a cluster with sharp zoning and clean points. In the field, I have found stones that looked worthless until I cleaned them, checked the zoning, and realized I was holding a piece worth more than my boots. The best stones have weight, texture, and a cold, glassy feel. The color is subtle, but under the right light, it glows. The worst are glassy, light, uniform color, no zoning, no inclusions, usually fakes or dyed quartz. Let's close with a story. In 2022, at Jackson's Crossroads, a collector named Paul Geffner pulled a cluster from a clay pocket. It looked like nothing, muddy, broken, barely a hint of purple. He cleaned it, checked the zoning with a loupe, and realized he had something special. The cluster went to auction and sold for $3,250, and now sits in a private collection. That is the reality. Most days you will find nothing, but once in a while, you will pull a stone that changes your luck and maybe your bank account. Here is your practical takeaway. If you want to find amethyst in any creek, you need 4 things: a steel knife or a glass bottle for the scratch test, a $12 UV flashlight for fluorescence, an $8 loupe for zoning, and a $15 pocket scale for specific gravity. Learn to spot pale purple, patchy color, and chevron patterns. Focus on creeks downstream from known amethyst formations, especially after heavy rain. Always check access. Private land needs permission. Public land has rules. Most stones are low value, but the right find can pay for itself 100 times over.